So I want to thank you, Sunday Jump, organizers and staff. I can take this out now.
Yes,
I would also like to thank our host, Filipino Workers Center, for continually being the place to bring us all together. The last year and a half has been such an insanity asylum for a lot of us, but I'm glad with today's focus on healing. I chose one poem I wrote, and then we'll read one of, there's two more. One of my favorite queer poets who wrote an amazing ode to his friend who passed away from HIV/AIDS. One of the worst days. He said, "These are the ravages of a sickly body." I countered, "These are the ravages of a mind that has given up." He looked up, smiled a bit. "You don't know, girl. I've been fighting this for 11 years. I left him alone and asked myself, how do you keep one afloat from battle fatigue if all you can offer are words? He wants a new body or no body at all. With a puff from his cigarette, he said slowly, "There is ceasefire in most battles, you know. Come sit and rest with me." I offered one last word, hope. He smiled at me. "That will do for now." I grabbed the word to have it envelop us like a shield. For the second poem, it was written by Essex Hemphill. He dedicated this poem to Joseph Beam, an African-American gay rights activist, writer, and poet who used his talents to activate the Philadelphia Black gay community. Joseph died of AIDS-related illness on December 27, 1988. Essex Hemphill is a poet and activist. He invigorated the Washington, D.C. art scene, showcasing the work of Black artists. He also died of an AIDS-related illness on December 27, 1988. When My Brother Fell, by Essex Hemphill, for Joseph Beam. When my brother fell, I picked up his weapons and never once questioned whether I could carry the weight and grief, the responsibility he shouldered. I never questioned whether I could aim or be as precise as he. He had fallen, and the passing ceremonies marking his death did not stop the war. Standing at the front lines, flanked by able brothers who miss his eloquence outrage, his insistent voice urging us to rebel, urging us to not fear embracing for more than sex, for more than kisses and notches in our belts. Our loss is greater than all the space we fill with prayers and praise. He burned out his pure life force to bring us a chance to love ourselves with commitment. He knew the simple spilling of seed would not be enough to bind us. It is difficult to stop marching, Joseph. Impossible to stop our assault. The tributes and testimonies in your honor flare up like torches. Every night, a light blazes for you in all our hearts. There was no one lonelier than you, Joseph. Perhaps you wanted love so desperately and pleaded with God for the only mercy that could be spared. Perhaps God knew you couldn't be given more than public love in this lifetime. When I stand on the front lines now, cussing the lack of truth, the absence of willful change, and strategic coalitions, I realize sewing quilts will not bring you back, nor save us. It's too soon to make monuments for all we are losing, for the lack of truth as to why we are dying. Who wants us dead? What purpose does it serve? When my brother fell, I picked up his weapons. I didn't question whether I could aim or be as precise as he. A needle and thread were not among his things I found. This next poem has a trigger warning for the audience. There is mention of sexual assault. So let me pause for about 3 seconds.
One second. If I could, can we switch bullets?
Oh, sure.
Yes, this one takes up to the recording. No worries, no worries. I'll be here.
The title is 468. This is dedicated to Houston Army Specialist Vanessa Guillen, murdered on April 22, 2020 in Fort Hood by another soldier. Does it not all start as a consideration or conversation with self, taking in all you've read, all you've heard and seen, thinking hard about what to bring up and swallow down? On the way to work, one morning at every light, you start remembering, start counting particular days, faces, and displeasures, men, males, he's or hims, all who've passed through multiple lifetimes like Ingrid, sweet yet terrible, dreamy yet numb, each recaptured, becoming testaments, become listings, becoming unforgettable hymns. White swimming instructor, uncle, maternal side, middle school cholo, Argentinian professor visiting, older gentleman dentist, Filipino dorm boy. It keeps going and I forget how to stop. Hymns upon hymns of boys, men spreading their unloved selves. So this last poem that I'm going to read is something I created for one of my friends who had this project called the Purple Project. And it's kind of writing a letter to the future. And the future LGBTQ youth that are currently having a hard time. Our promise. Feelings of abandonment, helplessness, and defeat, we are familiar with these stories. We also have triumphant accounts of working through, feeling comfort, and rising above. All went well when others offered their hand and heart and reached out to help us find a different space. Others were not grabbed in time, but you are still here. We want to tell you something. Remember the light that wakes you every morning. Try to keep your balance from that point. Try to stay steady every day. That light has always been there and will forever be there for you. In momentary or seemingly endless moments of silence, reach for it, yourself and those around you. It will keep you steady. Believing this will carry you and keep you alive. Thank you.